In 2011, I was diagnosed with stage 3A invasive ductal carcinoma, triple negative breast cancer.
I had a problem with with a past landlord. I was illegally evicted.
The people that come to us are usually in crisis. They are dealing with basic necessities, or what's recently been called the essentials of life.
The way we like to think of it, it's food, it's shelter, it's the clothing on your back. It's like the very, very basic things people need to sort of survive.
The poor are always invisible.
They're just at their wits' end.
If you have a legal problem, it's my experience with law services, they jump into it. And they fight diligently and zealously to help.
When President Kennedy, and I think it was his brother-in-law Shriver, made available, I heard, through the grapevine, money for legal services. So I went down to Washington, I got an allocation of a substantial sum set aside immediately for Nassau County. Because it was partially controlled by non-lawyers, the corporation had to be approved by the appellate division.
So I started here in 1978. Jimmy Carter was the president at that time. But shortly after I started, Ronald Reagan became the president, and of course he recommended zero funding for legal services in all 8 years that he was president. But somehow we survived.
Back then, we would handwrite orders to show cause, which, now if, a letter is off or the spacing is wrong or you use the wrong font or something like that, all hell breaks loose. But back then, literally, we wore our sneakers and you'd run and gather up the evidence and you'd handwrite as best as you could the orders to show cause, and then they'd go off to court. So it really was a MASH unit. And we did get results, so whatever it takes.
As a Long Islander, well aware that people think of Long Island as a somewhat bucolic, perfect suburban environment where everyone is comfortable, everyone has a home, life is good.
Island obviously is a very wealthy community, but there are severe pockets of poverty, and we don't have, but shelters continue to grow, expand and increase, and it makes it even more difficult to be poor on Long Island just because of the cost of housing.
That there are Long Islanders who are struggling there, and they are our neighbors. There are people who are out of work. There are people who are losing their homes. There are people who are underwater. There are people with disabilities, mental health issues. There is domestic violence. There are all of these things behind those suburban walls.
Some of the challenges as being the administrative judge involves the demographics of Suffolk County. Suffolk County is a very diverse county, over 1.5 million people in Suffolk County, and we obviously try to ensure access to justice for all the citizens in Suffolk County, and working with Nassau-Suffolk Law Services over the years has really helped us achieve that goal.
My attorney, Melissa Seidler, was so good.
The lawyer that I had represented me in court, at the end of that process, I won the case. I had some very good experience with Nassau and Suffolk Law Service.
One of the great things about Nassau-Suffolk Law Services is the attorneys are extraordinarily talented, brilliant often, and they're there because they want to be. These are folks, these are fantastic lawyers who are deeply committed. They know they could be making more money elsewhere, but they've chosen this career path, and they're doing it with conviction and extraordinary grace.
So I like working with this community because it is a marginalized community. It's the financial issues, the social issues that a lot of our other clients who are low income experience. add to that, you know, there is this like health concern, but it's also a very different health concern.
My interest has been in the health law field, where we help those that are usually not represented, such as the elderly and disabled, and they're often overlooked by society as well. So
I'm from the East End of Long Island, and so I'm further out east in the Riverhead office. We do custody proceedings, we do orders of protection, we do child support.
It's of course gratifying to be able to come in there and make it all right for them.
You're not only just a paralegal here. Everybody that calls has a different issue. Sometimes they're not only calling about their foreclosure issue, sometimes they're calling because they need somebody to talk to.
I work here as a volunteer. I've been here for about 20 years. People call in when they have problems. Basically the ones I handle are landlord-tenant problems. People ask me, "You are still there?" I say the kind of work that gives me such gratification, helping people, and the people that I work with are so appreciative of what I do.
As a paralegal here too, I also have the opportunity to jump on the switchboard every now and then. The number of calls I think have probably tripled. The receptionists are amazing to me, and I am on the phone for an hour, on the switchboard for an hour, and I am beside myself with the number of calls that come in, with the number of different issues that come in, with the amount of people that walk in.
I had an opportunity to be in the waiting room in the Hempstead office, and I overheard the receptionist answering the phone, and over again I would hear, "Nassau Suffolk Law Services, please hold. Nassau Suffolk Law Services, please hold on. I'll get someone to help you." Again, I heard a compassionate voice tell them, "It'll be okay. I'll get someone to see you." And really, the intangible essence of the work they do is the hope. They help people, but they also instill hope that things can get better and that somebody will really help them.
Family Service League has been a staple here in the community for 90 years. We consider ourselves a safety net for Long Island families. When our clients need help, when I sit, a staff come to me and say, "Karen, we need an attorney to help somebody who's being evicted," we know who to turn to, and that's Nassau Suffolk Law.
One of the things that's been really important to us is to reach out to community partners like Nassau Suffolk Law Services, and we've found and continue to find new ways for us to engage in access to justice initiatives. And our fellows work with the Volunteer Lawyers Project at Nassau Suffolk Law Services, taking cases in the landlord-tenant court. And Nassau Suffolk Law Services has really been instrumental in training our students in how to take those cases.
What we do here is to supplement what the main legal services program in the community does. One of the things I'm proudest about during my time at Law Services was the creation of the pro bono efforts. The Nassau and Suffolk Bar Associations being the most supportive bar associations I think you can have in the country.
Bulk of the work that those projects do are matrimonial families in bankruptcy, and I've had clients in both counties and in all three of those different areas. And I can tell you that every single judge that I've ever met and been on cases with is extremely appreciative of the Pro Bono and Volunteer Lawyers Project.
From the judicial perspective, it is always easier for the court system to achieve a just result, and to do that if both sides are represented, that is the best way to achieve that.
It would be a better world for all if public funding of civil legal services was recognized as a constitutional right, as it is for services in the criminal arena.
There are rules on the books that, unless they are enforced, they're meaningless to our clients. And that's one of our jobs, to make certain that our clients are given the full protection of the laws.
Nassau Suffolk Law Services has a stellar reputation in the community.
Take a case or find a way to give back.
Right, I'll do anything I can for law services.
As Eleanor Roosevelt once said, the future is literally in our hands to mold as we like. But we cannot wait until tomorrow, because tomorrow is now. Law Services will continue our efforts to create equal access to the civil justice system through the provision of high-quality, comprehensive legal services to all low-income and disabled Long Island residents. As we have done over our 50-year history, we will strive to serve as many in need as we can, with a focus on full representation whenever appropriate. Our aim is to achieve positive and important systemic change over the long term and to preserve basic human rights. To this end, we will also keep our focus on community education and the dissemination of public information to clients, together with networking and the training of community advocates to create effective partners in service. We aspire to be a legal services agency that is dynamic and responsive to the changing legal needs of our community. With your continued support and the continued support of our Long Island community, Nassau Suffolk Law Services has a bright future ahead.